children that are born today carry the ancestors from 10,000 years ago. If you think about that, that's how powerful our blood is, and we just have to revive who we are from the inside out. We have to heal from the inside out. And that's why I think it's really important we stand up our children and stand up laws for our children. Because if we protect the children, we protect our future.
So it's really important that our people connect with one another, reconnecting families, learning about who they are, their cultural identity, and who the Secwépemc are. Most importantly, learning our Secwépemc way of life, which is through prayers, songs, dances, the language, the culture, the practices, all of those that make us a distinct, important, Secwépemc nation, who we are.
For me, it's important to let these people know where they come from, that they do have a community, because without that, you don't really have a sense of belonging. And once you realize that, yeah, I have a community and I belong, you take a certain sense of pride in knowing that you have roots, you know where you come from.
Many of the children are in care, and it's about reconnecting them, letting them know who their families are, their communities are, and making sure that they have access to, membership, leadership, and that they know and learn where they're from. Because the biggest thing is, being tied to your community, it's the land, and it's about the values and who you are. It's the identity.
The 60s scoop really was a removal of identity. It's a continuation of the residential school. I never went to the residential school, but I walked in the footprints of my mom who did, and my grandparents who did. And all the things that were associated with that trauma, we carried as children. We didn't know it, but we carried it. Myself, when I was going through the foster care system, a year after I was in care, I thought of taking my life at 13 years old. Because I thought, what's the point? I was hopeless and helpless. I ran away from my foster parents a few times to my mom, and the RCMP came and picked me up and brought me back. And the last time that happened, I just had this feeling like, what the hell's the point? I feel hopeless. And I thought, I might as well just take my life. There's more children in care of the state right now than there ever was when the residential schools operated at their peak. There's like 30,000 Indian children in care, and there's like 15,000 when the residential schools operated. So it tells you something. This is going on day after day, and it's got to stop.
We've had enough of our children being taken away, and it was continually going on, and we understood that if we came together as one, we'd have one voice and be able to take that voice to Ottawa and let them know that we don't want to have that anymore. We want to have our own jurisdiction over our own children.
Yeah, the Indian Child Caravan was a concept that grew out of a plan to actually force the provincial government to do four things: to recognize our jurisdiction, to return our children, to jointly plan for our children, and to get the feds on board. The impetus really was we had to make a political issue out of something that just should be done.
And it was a demonstration of how we came together with the same familiar voice, and it was about the children, about keeping the children at home and not taking them away. So it was very powerful.
And now you fast forward, now we're almost 40 years later, and we're in a situation where we're the only community in Canada of the 600 and some communities that have our community-based legislation. And so since 1980, we can tell you where every child is. Our population at that time was about 350, now it's close to 1,000. So all the children have been born since 1980, we know where they are and who they belong to. And they're not lost to the system.
So the blanketing ceremony, it's about wrapping them. It's wrapping them with their community's love, their nature, their protection, and their nurturing. And it's about reminding them that, we're all children and we all need to be nurtured, and that we're here for them.
The major part was Having a blanketing ceremony for our youth and welcoming them back to the community, because a lot of them don't realize where they come from just because they live in the urban settings. They're not from our reserve, so it was really important to reach out and touch base with them to let them know that they have roots, they have a community that supports them. When we did the blanketing ceremony, we told them that this blanket represents safety, security. You always know you have a community of 700 people behind you to help you and support you in whichever way we can to make you successful.
I just can't stress enough how important it is to be connected with your community. Without them, you're just one person. But as an entire community, you're much, much more.
Our job is to teach the next generation of young people that the nation and Secwépemc'ulecw is bigger than just one person. It's bigger than one family. It's bigger than one community. It's all 32 communities collectively together, all 15,000 Secwépemc. That's what make up the nation. And that one child is connected to all 15,000 in some way of their relatives in the nation, and that's what's important. Yes, they have a place where they resided, but they connect, and that's what it's all about, connection. It's really, really important.
The songs that you hear at a gathering, the more you learn about the songs, it's kind of like, it's just like feeling like as if you're being connected. It feels like the roots of your tree are now sinking deeper into the ground.
Being and knowing who you are and being able to state who your grandparents and your great-grandparents all the way back is really important for us so that we know, and then people, when you introduce yourself, they can connect you and say, that's my Sultan, this is who you are, this is where you're from. And you need to be able to do that so that when you do go out on the land and you talk and you tell the ancestors and everyone, this is who I am, they will know who you are. Our ancestors and all living beings will know who you are.
We bring the children back to the community so they can learn who they are once again. They need to know who they are. They need to find their culture, their language, and their spirituality. And to do that, they have to come back to the community.
During the genealogy workshop, we had a lady find out at that genealogy workshop she was from our community. And it was huge. The emotions, seeing her break down several times, realizing that she found her home. To me, that was powerful. That was amazing. It really hit home the importance of touching base with as many people as we can and letting them know they have roots, they belong, and they're welcome back in our communities anytime they want to come back.
You know, I cried when I seen all these children coming out and being embraced by the reserves where they came from. That was so touching, you know. I like to see that happen with all our children, wherever they are, wherever they come from, you know, finding their spirit and be proud of who they are and where they come from.
And so it's really, really important as we move forward in this new standing up Secwépemc law and recognizing the children and raising them up and blanketing them and recognizing who they belong to, that it's really healing for them because they think we've given up on them. And we haven't. Even if they're adult children, we haven't given up on who they are. You're important. Everything that you do from your life from now on, understand that you have this whole nation that's behind you. And that in your blood runs the blood of your ancestors that were warriors, that protected this land, that knew how to live off this land. That's something you're going to learn in your lifetime. So in your blood runs the blood of our ancestors. So that you as young people, you'll grow up to be, you know, people that'll help the nation, whether you become a chief or whether you become a lawyer or a doctor, and truly an Indian doctor and learning our medicines, those kinds of things. That's what's important, everything that you do from now on, understand you belong to the Secwépemc Nation, and your citizenship and your roots run deep in the ground of the Secwépemc'ulecw, and that you belong, and understand you will never ever be alone. And there's lots of things we do around ceremony and songs that can reconnect you with what your path is on life and your life path. And so we welcome you back into the nation, and we look forward to you taking us to places we've never thought we'd go as a nation.